I'm Teddy's Yankee.
Hi, Emmanuel Bawa.
So, I'm DK.
At the moment, there's been momentum for the Black Lives Matter movement surrounding George Floyd, and Bleed Green basically just wanted to get an account from students who play sport at Sterling. So my question for you guys really is, have you ever experienced racial discrimination whilst playing your sport, and how did it make you feel?
I personally haven't with cheerleading, but obviously, like just in general, there is the stereotype for like black cheerleaders, so like cheeky, like sassy, that type of thing. Like I haven't personally, but obviously I do know there is quite a lot of like stereotypical thoughts in regards to like black cheerleaders in general. I feel like black women are seen as quite as aggressive, you know. They're just like known to just be like not angry, but just over the top, really. So, but I personally haven't had any at all.
I would say it's kind of different because with American football, it's especially like in the NFL and like in America, it's a sport that is sort of predominantly played by sort of black players, like African American, if you say, people. So I wouldn't say so, but obviously, the reality is like in the UK, it's not America. So like, there's a whole like load of people, and especially like even in the team, it's not a majority, like black. There's not a majority of black people, so it's not quite the same. I wouldn't say especially at Sterling, but there's times where I feel like when you go to play a game and you're the black guy, it's like, oh yeah, watch out for him. He's gonna be good or something like that. And it's just like, I would say it's sort of like just added pressure. Yeah, added pressure. But it's basically just added pressure. But I wouldn't say it's something negative. I used to play football as well, and when I first started, like the team that I joined, was like a predominantly white team, and like in terms of like coaches and stuff as well. And what I found is like the black players and like they would see as more like less skillful and more like physical, and then like the white players or like other players are like defined as the more skillful players. Like, and it's like, is that really the case, or is that just what you think?
In school, they tell us if you're black, you're only going to get through school, through sports. And that's a fact. There is no, like, that's why so many black kids now start going to predominantly black colleges, HBCUs, because in those colleges, they teaches you that there is more to life than sports. You can become a doctor, you can become a lawyer, you can become your own businessman, you can become so much, and there's more to life than sport. Well, growing up playing soccer, what people refer to, I've had my fair share of racism. I've had people tell me, players, parents especially, telling me you don't belong here, go back to Africa. Bear in mind, last time I was in Africa was 1998. I've had people like, just because I was black, they used to tell me, you're fast entry. Like, now you can jump higher, you can do this and that. And I'm like, first of all, I can't really jump higher. That's been very established. I'm a decent speed, but I'm not as quick as everybody else. You know, when you go into school, people expect you to be good at basketball because you're tall, you're black. I've had players calling me a nigger. I have parents calling me a nigger. I could have heard in the noise, group of kids making monkey noise, because we're all trying to make a goal, we're trying to make it professional. We knew that if we ever did something to fight for it, our dreams might be crushed. And since it's a white man's game, it's like, if there's a bunch of black people are revolting, the chances of them making professional are slim. So we just kept quiet, and we just kept football. And throughout the years on TV, you see players receiving the same treatment. And sometime going back home after the football games, like in England, I used to cry to myself, and those are things I didn't tell my parents, because personally I didn't want the between parents clash, courages. I didn't want none of that. So I just used to cry back home, feeling sad, asking myself different questions. And so when I came to uni and I joined American football, the culture is just different. American football is, and throughout the years, throughout the notable players that played the sports, they brought down racism altogether. American football is not a racist sport, like Bawa said. Predominantly in America, it's black athletes. American football is more of a sport where it's a family. It doesn't matter what race you're from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what country you're from, what social hierarchy you're from. It's a family.
What was your first memory of experiencing racism? How did that make you kind of perceive yourself, other people, just in general? How did that make you feel?
A lot of tweets and it's like, oh, racism isn't in Scotland, da 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 da. I personally feel like it is. In like Glasgow, especially, like I've always stayed in Glasgow. Like a lot of like humour though. It's like jokes, which should not be funny. But I remember when I was younger, I was just out playing, just being a child. And then like this boy was like, oh, like Alex the Lion, and I was like, what? Like at this point, like I just didn't really. How old was I? Maybe like 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
9ish, yeah. He was like, oh yeah, like Alex the Lion from like Madagascar, obviously. And I was like, I don't get what you mean. And he was like, yeah, like because like you're African, Alex the Lion. Like it's little things like that,
Mm-hmm.
like little jokes, like banter, and like Scotland, like they'll say, oh, it's just like a joke, but really like it's indirect racism basically. There obviously is a lot of other racism, but that's probably the start. Like little comments more for me that I've heard when I was younger. And even as like I've grown older, like yeah, it does happen a lot in Glasgow, but it's more like it is put in as if it's like meant to be a joke, but it's not a joke at all, if that makes sense.
Would you say that as you got older, the aggression became worse? Or was it kind of something which you would like face regularly?
Yeah, so it has happened to me in the street before. This was not even that long ago. Like I just with my friends, like obviously none of them are racist. Like I've just kind of grew up around white people. So like when I've grew up, like my friend group is majority of white people. So it can happen indirectly, even in nights out, and it's just like thinking it's funny. It has happened, but it's not something that's happened all the time. It's happened in the street before. So even after the George Floyd thing, like obviously I've seen people that I might have not thought were racist, like are racist because of the type of posts and stuff that they do make. But in Glasgow especially, it's just like banter, even if it's to do with black people, Asian people, Chinese people, like it's just seen as banter. It's just like phrases, like it shouldn't be offensive. But obviously when you're sitting on the other seat and it's me, like it's targeting me, that is offensive, if that makes sense.
I think when I was like 8, I was over at my cousin's house and we're playing about with one of his neighbors who was white. He wanted to do something and we were like, no. And then he went to his house, and then he told his mom that we threw stones into his like garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then like next thing you know, there's like a policeman taking down our details at like 8 years old, and I'm like, but obviously at that age I'm not really aware of the world like that, so I'm just like, this is a bit strange. And not until I got older and I was like, but this guy, like we actually didn't do this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you can find evidence that we didn't do this. So like, why is it when it's like his word against our word, like why could we not get like listened to like the same way that he's been listened to?
Mm-hmm.
When I got to Stirling, I remember in first year, I was waiting for the bus after a night out. This and like I was just like trying to just wait for the bus, and then they started like shouting, and I was just like, okay, like can you guys? Well, I don't know what the situation is here, but I just try to like sort it out. And out of nowhere, she called me a black cunt, and I was just like, there's no need for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to, calm the situation down. And then there's just been like various sort of situations like that. It's just like even when I'm walking about, some guy would just come up to me like, "Oh, Skepta, like, are you Skepta, or do you know Skepta?" Or like, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, like, I don't really get offended by it anymore, because I'm just like, okay, I guess like it's sort of ignorance. It's so it's not like I can't really be offended by it, because it's just like in my opinion, I feel like they're trying to relate to me. So the first thing that they think of, like when they see me, is like, okay, like he must listen to Skepta. So I understand it, but I'm just like, it just gets tiring, like over and over again. I'll say like in Sterling, especially with like the locals, not really interacting with people from other races. So like when they see someone, the first image is like something that they've seen of the TV, or they've seen, I don't know, in the news or something. And then they must think, okay, so he's black, he must like the things that black people are meant to like. And then it's like, then they just say it without thinking, okay, but this is just like a normal guy, like regardless of whether he's black or white. Maybe he listens to Skepta, maybe he doesn't. Like they can't put the fact that I'm black and the fact that I'm just a normal guy. Like they just think, oh, okay, this black guy, he must like everything stereotypically black. And I don't know, I feel like they just need to, okay, acknowledge that I'm black, yes, but acknowledge that I am my own person and not what every black person is, if you know what I mean.
So the area that I was living in was mostly Arabs and black people. So in every corner you will see an Arab family, a black family, and then there was the probably 10-12% of the white French Canadians living there. And obviously growing up, it was always the jokes about there's a man driving, there's a police car driving. Guess who's in the back? A Jew, a black guy, and an Arab. And it was always that kind of joke. And at first it was funny, but then the more you grow up, the more you start realizing that, hold on, what does it have to be a Jew, a black guy, and an Arab at the back of a police car? And then one thing, my sister, I think she was on the bus, because back then Canada is a safe country, so you can take the bus at whatever age, like 7, 8, 9. You know where you're going. It's just so obviously she was on the bus, and then some white little boy looks at her and turned around to his mother and asked her, and the kid asked his mother, "Mom, why is she dirty?" And obviously my sister was so traumatized. She came back home and she told me, "You never guess what happened." She told me this, and I was like, at first I didn't know what to think of it. And then I was like, and I look at King Colin, I was like, "Rah, it's real. It's real." Going to a predominantly white secondary school, you're the new kid, the new black kid, your surname, you can't escape the fact that everyone will know you're from Africa based on your surname. So the first thing they start doing is that really annoying African accent, which till today very annoying, because we do not sound like it. I've never. It always start with and then they start going.
Oh my god, I know.
We don't sound like this. I don't know what kind of movie you watch, but we really don't.
You do
So
tell that.
obviously, listen, 5 years of it was annoying. Got bullied from a young age. 11-year-old got bullied by year 11. I got 1 year 11 called me a nigger. Like I was literally the target of year 11s. The black kid. In like just there.
I remember I was when I was working at Dusk, I was PRing, and I'm literally at work. Like I'm at work, and I'm on the street, Friar Street, and there's like 2 policemen that like walk down, and they've got a dog. like the dogs come like in the area, and I'm just like, oh, I've seen the dog. I'm just like, oh shit, it's a dog. Like, blah 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 blah. Just interacting with the dog. Thinking nothing of it. And then like 5 seconds later, it's like, oh, the dog has shown interest in you. We need to search you under the Drugs Act. And I was just like, okay, but I was interacting with the dog. The dog didn't run up to me and sniff me, blah 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 blah. And like I literally said, I am at work. Like I am at work. Do you think I would carry drugs on me whilst I'm working?
They come and search you for no concrete reason, but you never hear the words, I'm sorry. So they're just going about the day like as if nothing happened, like as if you didn't waste like an hour of my life searching for something that I clearly do not have. I'm clearly not the person that you thought I was. And it just becomes a thing where it's like, brother, I can't like, and if you say something back to them, it becomes they start throwing you all them laws, code, like legislation, and you just like, Lord have mercy. I just said, can you leave me alone?
I think it's just like educating yourself. Obviously, like I know a lot of people, like your perspective is might be different to somebody else's, but it literally takes 2 minutes to Google or like to do your research or read more into things in regards to certain like issues. Like I've seen a lot of debates on like Twitter just about like what you'd call a Chinese or like what you'd call an Asian person or a black person, and like some people are like it shouldn't be offensive, like it's just like half of the word and stuff. But like obviously because it's like me, if it's directly at me or if it's like a different like ethnic minority, like it is offensive. So I just feel like people need to just educate themselves and take even like 5 minutes to take a step back and think before they speak. Or like I understand everyone has their own opinions and like they think differently to the way you might do and the way I might do, but it's not empathy, but just takes 2 minutes just to like think if the shoe was not the foot, how would that feel if that happened to them?
I also think educating yourself is a big thing, but also like use that education to sort of, if you see something that isn't right, like don't be scared to sort of call it out. If you call out, that's the first step to sort of changing someone's mind. If you're in a room with people and someone says something and you don't say anything, then that person is going to think that you think it's okay. But if you don't think it's okay and you don't say anything, that person's going to think it's okay, and then they're going to keep saying it. So until you say, okay, that's not okay, but then you need to be able to explain why that's not okay, which is where the education comes in as part of it. Just literally treat someone like how you would want to be treated. Like if someone says, if someone doesn't like being called something, don't call them that. Like if just literally treat people how you want to be treated. Fight your prejudice. Find a reason like to not believe what you think about somebody on your first appearance.
First, to the Black community, it's a family. We accept everyone despite anything. We just accept you for who you are. And it's just becoming a friend, really. And like Terry and Bao said, it's mainly about just educating yourself, educating yourself, keep on reading books, Netflix has now shown so many things about the Black Lives Matter. There's been movies, series, there's even been kids series. There's things for kids, there's things for your kids to learn about what Black people go through every single day. You can see on their Instagram that they are fighting for a just cause. They are fighting for something that they have experienced their entire lives. And I just feel like it is the right thing to do, just to ask them, like put your pride aside, put your ego aside, put all of that aside and just humiliate yourself. Life is all about humility. Humiliate yourself and just ask them, like, what can I do to help? Throughout the past couple months, I've had people asking me questions, telling me what can I do to help, because obviously I don't know what you guys are going through. if I say this, it might come out wrong. Like, what can I say? What can I do? And it's always comforting to know that people want to help. People want to do this. People want to do that. And, you know, like, as a Black person that lives this racial kind of thing, you know, I'm not the type of person to reject. I will accept you. I'll be like, listen, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to watch. This is what you need to read. This is who you need to speak to. If you see one of your friends posting something on your Instagram and it is valid to the post, repost it, put it on your Facebook, put it on your thing, and just keep going with the chain. Like, I told so many people this, and I'm going to say it again here, that it is not a trend. It's not a one-month thing. It is not because George Floyd died. It is because Breonna Taylor died. It is because Eric Garner died. It is because all of those people died. It is because Black women are being treated unfairly. It's not a trend. This is more than that. It is people's life literally hanging on a thread. And if we're not loud, then we're just going to get ignored like we've been ignored for the past God knows how many years.
And I just wanted to ask you guys whether you think that Stirling University gives you support in terms of, you know, like racial discrimination, being just, you know, being Black within Stirling. Is there any support for you? Do you feel they give that to you? Do you feel they could do better? Do you think they could do more?
Yeah, they need to do better, I think, personally. Even with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, don't know if people seen the comments and stuff, it was just the same reply for everyone. It didn't really answer any questions. I just feel like they probably need a Black person on to work with them and amongst them to like properly get like our passion out from that end. Like, I just feel like there's not really that much support, really. There's obviously other societies and stuff, but I don't know, I just feel like there's not much, they've not really done much or really said much about it.
One thing, one notable thing that I remember is there was an incident with the football team, I think like around like 2015, 2016. And the repercussions of that wasn't like, to me at least, or like from what I've heard, for what the incident was, it was just like a slap on the wrist, where I felt like it should have been something more serious. And then that creates an environment where it's like, oh, like people can just get away with things. And then for people who have sort of experienced issues to do with like racial discrimination and stuff, that I feel like they aren't able, they don't feel like they can come to the uni to speak to someone about it, because it's like, okay, if people can get away with this, then do they really care enough to sort of listen to me? From what I've like heard and stuff like that, like the space isn't really there for people to sort of come and like speak on that. But bearing in mind, they released like a survey for people to do. So I urge like people to sort of fill that out to get their voices heard. That's like a foot in the door at least. So yeah.
First of all, listen. Oh gosh. The excuses are just tiring. Like, you cannot excuse yourself from doing things like, and for me, it's just even the little thing like Black History Month. Listen, the Asian Society got a whole festival made for them on the track. Do you understand? A whole festival, a well-organized festival. What did the Black people get? Because it was a mistake, or I haven't seen it, because we don't get anything. Like, we are being so overlooked, like as if it was even I think the ACS is being overlooked by the university. They need to give us reassurance, because I've seen comments where a Black international student tell themselves are literally second thinking about coming to the university, because the university doesn't tell. The university hides so much. Like they hide so much. And that thing with the football team, I was like, listen, if I knew that it was like that, I probably would have never met any of you guys. I probably would have not come to Stirling. If I knew, because when I chose to come to Scotland, I chose to escape what the hell was happening in London, England. I chose to escape from it. But it's like as if I ran from it and I ran straight back into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, where am I safe? If my own university cannot provide a safe haven for me, where else, or for any other Black people, where else can we be safe?
Work.